Modern Warfare 2019 is one of the most praised Call of Duty games of all time. But honestly, I think people overrate it because once you get past the graphics, the realism, the animations, all the stuff that looks amazing, the actual gameplay tells a very different story. And more importantly, I think this game has done more damage to Call of Duty than most people realize. Recently, a ton of players went back to Modern Warfare 2019 because it was on sale for like $6 on Steam. Instantly, charts on SteamDB shot up, showing there was upwards of 30,000 players on at one time. And almost instantly, it sparked a huge debate online whether the game was actually good or not. You got people saying this is the last greatest COD ever, and people saying that they'll never get a game like this ever again. And then there's people on the other side. You got people pointing out all the problems. And there are some serious defenders of this game. And you might even be one. But what I want to do in this video isn't just say the game is bad. I want to explain why its success might have actually been one of the worst things that ever happened in Call of Duty. Now, to be fair, this game did get a lot right. The engine upgrade was insane. People were comparing it to Battlefield with how much the game actually changed its look. The graphics, the lighting, the way the guns looked and moved, everything felt real in a way Call of Duty never had felt before. The sound design, probably one of the biggest jumps in improvement in the entire franchise's history. Every gun felt powerful, every shot had weight to it. Even for the players who disliked this game, the campaign was very good. It brought back fan favorite characters and added some spice to them. It had a darker tone, more grounded storytelling. It felt like a true reboot of Modern Warfare. And all of that combined creates something really important. The game looks incredible to play, and that's exactly why so many people defend it. It also introduced two very important things to the series. It introduced cross progression between all modes, so leveling up in Spec Ops would also transfer over to multiplayer. And they also finally introduced crossplay to Call of Duty, so players on different consoles could play with each other, which I forgot was something that wasn't very common in gaming until 2020, 2021. But this is where the game, in my opinion, starts to fall apart. Because the game isn't just campaign, and Warzone is its own thing. And also because the game looking good and actually playing good are not the same thing as well. The biggest issue starts with the map design in multiplayer. Most of the maps are cluttered, filled with windows, doors. Don't get me started on doors. There's no clear flow, you're moving through the map, you're constantly checking 10 different sightlines all at once, and what does that do? It punishes movement. The moment you try to play aggressively, that is where you're going to get exposed in this game. So what do players do? They slow down, they sit in buildings, and they hold angles. And the game actually rewards that in many different aspects. The ghost perk in this game does not require you to move in order to not be seen on the radar. That rewards the player for not moving. Footsteps are loud, probably the loudest in the entire series, so everyone hears you coming, so another reason not to move around a ton. The time to kill is extremely fast as well, so you don't have time to react if you're playing aggressively. So why not just stare out a window the entire match? And then you add on mounting on top of all of that, literally encouraging players to lock down positions. They also completely reworked how the minimap worked, and it even experimented with no minimap during the beta. That was certainly a choice. This isn't just camping being a playstyle, this is camping being the optimal way to play. Because I think Modern Warfare does not encourage movement, while Treyarch was making systems to encourage movement. Is it fair because Black Ops 7 came out after Modern Warfare? No, but I am going to be making this point because a lot of the same audience who hates on Black Ops 7 are Modern Warfare enjoyers. I can also say that shotguns were overpowered and snipers were pretty much made useless due to the marksman category being flat out better for quickscoping for most maps, other than Ground War and Warzone. But those are things I would say are common in a lot of games, whether it's the shotguns category, snipers category, or submachine guns category, so there would be an endless conversation about that. Other games had their problems too, but the changes to the other games were not as drastic in my opinion. But you can like these changes that Modern Warfare did, to be honest. But for the record, I do not like most or any of the changes made in Modern Warfare. And then there's this whole realism aspect. You have the doors, the visual recoil. All of these mechanics are meant to make the game feel more tactical, but in reality, they don't do that at all. They just slow the game down and reduce the skill gap. It was made to make the game feel tactical, but it just moves away from what made Call of Duty so charming. These changes alone disgruntled a lot of players at the time, and T. Martin, who was one of the biggest Call of Duty YouTubers at the time, literally stopped making content on Call of Duty after Infinity Ward was stuck with how they wanted their systems to work. His last video is literally a final review the day of the game coming out. And honestly, even with all of that, people still have fond memories of this game. But I will argue that that's not just because of the game itself, it's when the game came out. This was during the pandemic. Everyone was home, everyone was playing more games than usual, and at the same time, Warzone dropped. And that was a massive moment for the Call of Duty franchise. You were playing with your friends every day, and that was really the only way of socializing at the time. And you also have got nothing else to do, so it felt like everyone was on the game at the same time. So when people look back at Modern Warfare, they're not just remembering the gameplay, they're remembering the entire time period. And maybe they're confusing those memories with Warzone and applying them to the Modern Warfare 2019 game. But this is where the real impact comes in, because this game didn't just succeed, it blew up. A lot of people would say artificially due to the pandemic, and because of that, it completely shifted the direction of Call of Duty. After Modern Warfare, Activision doubled down on everything it introduced. Every game started running the same engine, and because of that, every game started to feel the same. Movement, gunplay, animations, it all blends together now. It makes the burnout and franchise fatigue hit way faster than it used to. Skill-based matchmaking became way more aggressive to the point where it feels like your lobbies are being decided more on your skill than your actual connection. Then you got things like tack sprinting, which sounds cool on paper, but in reality, it just adds unnecessary strain to the movement. And then there's systems like the Prestige system, which used to be a core part of the progression all the way back to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. But in this game, and the future games, they were either watered down or completely removed for years, until recently with Black Ops 6. So instead of evolving what made Call of Duty great, the series started standardizing everything. The same engine, the same systems, the same feel. And at the same time, the core identity of the game started to fade. Fast-paced arcade-style gameplay that defined Call of Duty for years disappeared overnight. And in its place, we got games that were trying to balance realism with accessibility, but never really committing to either one of them, which leads to the weird identity crisis that we're in right now, where the games don't really satisfy casual players and they don't really satisfy hardcore players at all. And it all traces back to this shift. Modern Warfare 2019 isn't a terrible game, but I do think it's one of the most misleading successful games in Call of Duty history, because it convinced both players and developers that this is the direction the series could go in. But in reality, a lot of what made it successful had nothing to do with the gameplay itself. Call of Duty really hasn't been the same since, because when you played an Infinity Ward game, or a Treyarch or a Sledgehammer game, yeah, they were all Call of Duty, but they all looked and felt a little bit different from each other. But now everything is standardized between games and modes, like how even Zombies has armor. This really wasn't a thing before Modern Warfare or Warzone. Yes, Black Ops 4 and World War II had them, but not to the degree that it is in these games now. And all of this likely stemmed from the inflated player numbers during the pandemic. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like. If you think you'll enjoy my content, maybe consider subscribing. And also let me know what you think in the comments about the video. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See you.